Hello, welcome to Improve Your Voice, aka vocabilities.com. My name is Darren McStay, and today I'm going to be reviewing the voice of Cate Blanchett.
You're in bed with someone who you've never met before.
Now, Cate, again, is another actor, and actors keep getting asked for, so I'm going to keep bringing actors if that's what people want. I said I wasn't going to do any more, then I did some more, so I'm just giving in now. That's what you want, that's what you're going to get. But it's great. One of the things that is really key, and we should all recognise with actors, and the reason why people like their voices is because they've trained their voice. Actors train to breathe well, they train to look after their posture, they train to look after their voice and their instrument, and they do work to relax their body, to find more resonance and become more present and be able to project without effort. And this is, and of course working on articulation as well, because they use words, they have to be heard, especially on the stage. And most actors that you see on film have trained at some point for stage, so they have the ability to use their voice when needed. And Cate Blanchett is no stranger to using her voice. She's got a fantastic, warm, rich, round female voice, and like, I'm so glad to have another female voice that works. She's like, again, it's because she's an actor and she's trained it, but it's a really good example that when you train your voice, you can have a voice like that. It's as simple as that. It's a physical thing. You do the exercises, you will get the voice. Simple, all right? So, Cate Blanchett, let's have a little listen to her.
But sometimes I remember Soderbergh saying, because I did a film with him in The Good German, which about 2.5 people saw, but they had been filming for 2 weeks, and I literally arrived the day before and walked onto set and sort of had to play this German woman.
Now, from the offset, I hear that Cate Blanchett is very comfortable with her lower register, and she sits very comfortably by using deeper tones, and these deeper tones make her more kind of, not masculine, but you know, just more rounded and very sort of authoritative. And I know it doesn't necessarily give you authority to have a deeper voice, but with a woman who's able to be comfortable enough to use those lower tones, it really kind of makes her stand out as strong. And Cate Blanchett is a bloody good actor, and she's got a very strong voice, and it means that when she says things, you listen. And that's maybe why she's so captivating on TV. But let's have a little more.
And I was completely intimidated. Another accent. And we just did one take, and I said, can I do it again? And I said, don't you ever rehearse? And he said, no, I just have dinner parties. So that people can get to know one another.
Oh, I see.
Because oftentimes, you know, you walk on set and suddenly you're in bed with someone who you've never met before, and you know.
And also because she's got this kind of open, resonant, deep voice, she's able to use expression because she's flexible. Here's the thing, she can express herself, and all of a sudden it's no longer a deep voice, but it goes very high into in a higher register, and she can do that easily. So she's able to express herself, and with her thoughts and ideas, share them in such a way that her voice is not in the way of her ideas. There's no blocks, there's no restrictions, it's so open, so she can be relaxed and low like that, and then share an idea and it goes up there, and there's absolutely nothing stopping her. She's very free, she's very relaxed, she's very calm, and these are all good traits and all good things that you could, you know, take on board for yourself if you wanted to have a voice as flexible and dynamic as hers.
And I wonder, I think I thought about this a lot when I was playing Blue Jasmine, maybe having played Blanche Dubois, even though Woody Allen didn't want to talk about Streetcar at all.
Did he not?
No, but there were such kind of parallels between the two roles.
I thought that was what made it such fun.
But did you find it easier having, because you seemed so utterly free in that film, having originated the role on stage?
No.
She's speaking very softly here. Blue Jasmine. She's speaking very softly, and she's got a very, very, very slight husk to her voice, which is actually kind of, personally, I think it's quite sexy, but it's not over the top. But she's able to speak softly, and still it's very clear. And that is because of resonance, and that is because she's created space in her body, and she's able to use the space. And basically, when we say space in the body, she's got a flexible soft palate, a flexible throat, and larynx is able to move freely, her jaw is free. And so when she creates space in these areas, sound resonates, and vibrations made by the vocal folds have a bigger space in which to reverberate, and therefore the sound is rich and there's no effort needed. So even when she's speaking quietly, she's still very audible, still very clear. She could probably whisper and be heard across a large room or even in an open space because of that space. And you only get that through training it and having those muscles become more flexible and having those muscles become more dynamic and giving you the options, give you the opportunity. And that's a really good way to think about it. You don't have to have a deep voice, you don't have to have a high voice, but by creating space and flexibility in your vocal system, you will have a resonant voice, and therefore you need no effort, and the voice will work for you so you can share yourself with the world. If you know Cate Blanchett or not, she's played many different accents in her career, and she's obviously spends a lot of time working on them and getting them correct. Her natural accent seems to be somewhere over from Oceania, like this. I think she's Australian. But what I can tell from that is.
Such fun.
But did you find it easier?
So there's a slight nasal quality in the zone. So I've talked about tone before and the way the air placement can affect the way your accent is, and hers is kind of quite nasally, and so by letting the air go through there, it creates this sound, which is the biggest part of her accent, is actually where she's putting the air as she speaks. But of course she's very good at changing that if she wants to, and she's very clipped. She's clearly studied RP, received pronunciation, because even though she's got a zone of air placement in the nose, she still is able to articulate in such a manner that is small, precise and clear without being over the top. And also, if you look at her face, like the facial structure, she's got a very kind of dynamic, sort of pointy face, if you like. Her cheekbones are very it looks like everything's like a trumpet. It's like facing forward like that. She's got big lips, and her jaw is kind of aimed that way. So it's almost like having a face that's shaped that way naturally is kind of giving her the opportunity to be able to let air move forward, and it's like in her genes for her to pronounce words and let words come out very directly, and that might play some part into the way that she's actually able to naturally create sound. Of course, she clearly trained, but that does have an impact on the way you might naturally speak before you make any changes. The thing is with Cate Blanchett and other people that are trained and use their voice very well, there's not a lot that I can tell you that I haven't told you in other videos, and this is why it's difficult for me to do actors, because they're doing everything right, and by doing everything right, I'm really repeating myself and saying that they've got relaxed, flexible vocal systems. They are breathing well, their posture is good, and they're able to articulate clearly because they're not restricting anything. There's no restriction in their throat, no restriction in their mouth. They're limber. They probably do warm-up exercises before they speak. They probably do voice work every day, and hence they always every day have the voice that they want. If they stop doing it, then maybe after a few months they'd start to notice the difference. And I know myself that when I come up for a new role, an acting role, I spend, depending on what kind of role it is, I spend a lot more time on voice work just to bring me back up to the point where I'm at my best. And so I don't know what else to say, really. This is why sometimes having voices that are a bit different and not so trained are interesting to me, because that way I can show you what they're doing wrong. But it is nice, again, to be reminded that there are many women who have fantastic voices. Cate Blanchett is a very good example of that. So if you're a woman out there, or even a guy who would like to have a voice that's as resonant, clear and articulate as Cate Blanchett, then you could do some voice training, and that would help you quite considerably. All right, thank you for watching. My name's Darren McStay. I hope this has been useful to you. I'll be bringing more of these videos, and hopefully there'll be a little bit more to share on that's more useful for you. But either way, it's always good to be reminded what works and why it works. And I will see you next time. This is Improve Your Voice. My name's Darren McStay, and until the next time, look after your voice.
I have so many tales to tell, and up till now I've been telling them real badly, so I hate myself. and all my faults, because the one thing time won't heal, the loss of days gone.